Peace. Allah be here from Allah school in Mecca, and this topic, which I'd like to, bring to the public's attention, is a hot topic that's taking place in St. Louis, Missouri, of a young brother, Michael Brown, being executed by a racist cop named Darren Wilson. And it's disturbing that our youth, especially one who just recently graduated, was scheduled to begin college the day before he was murdered at 17, but since, as they say, turned 18, didn't get a chance to fulfill his ambition of going on to college. A lot of disturbing things in this case, but this case is emblematic of the systematic racism that's taking place of white cops killing black young men, the endangered species, as though they are the target of the vengeance, I guess, of white racism. You know how when the beast or the monster set forth elements of fear into a community, they always go at the strongest of that community. Of course, our youth is our strong backbone of our community. Although they depicted as being the worst in society, thus having the self-hate, killing each other. But this young man, Michael Brown, who really, his death really has me disturbed, as it does the people in St. Louis, Missouri, and around the world, that he was in surrender mode, totally giving up at the mercy of an executor. And I think that was his mistake, not running as his friend did, but he didn't continue to run after being hit with a bullet. He knew it was a murder situation in the sense that he was fired upon after being accosted for no reason at all. And I say no reason at all because now they done came up with a fabricated incident of some big guy in a convenience store strong-arming the clerk for cigars. And if you look at the video, that has nothing to do with being executed on the street. There was no provocation for this young man to be killed, especially in a surrendered position. And I've seen that, and I see it, and I want to say to the youth, especially the young black men and young black women, because they get shot too. Don't surrender. These people that has been killing young black men and women, whether they was black, Hispanic, or whatever the case may be, was in surrender mode, in surrender position, because they was defenseless, or even the worst, unarmed. They needed to be armed with the intellect, the knowledge, to know how to use their power correctly, to see it coming, recognizing the systematic racism of murder of the young, innocent, defenseless, unarmed youth, and avoid it at all costs. Like Trayvon Martin, as he tried to avoid it. But what I loved about that young brother, whatever he's seen death, and he fought against it. And he fought against it vigorously. They systematically, if not inherently, is out to kill the young black men. They feel as though the older black men done became so docile that they ain't about nothing. They not protecting the youth. And in a sense, that's the truth, because there's a divide between the older brothers, if you will, and the younger brothers. The older them became afraid of the younger brothers. How can you lead somebody in the right direction if you're not communicating with them? And them older brothers is winning the wrong direction, so they can't lead the younger brothers in the right direction by example. That we don't surrender to those who fight and kill us. We fight and do what needs to be done by any means necessary against those who fight against us. We got to arm our youth with the intelligence to know their human rights as well as their civil rights. And their human rights dictates the first law of nature is self-preservation. And you preserve yourself by having knowledge. The young brother was killed and murdered like he wasn't nothing. Murdered and laid in the street for hours on end while his blood stained the street. And it was a sad sight to see a police walk up and put a sheet over a young, strapping 17-year-old on his way to college, one day away from setting foot on a college campus. Witnesses said that not only did Mike have his hands raised and received the second shot in the front, but he received the coup de grace of the executioner's shot in the head while in a horizontal position. What that mean? While he was laying what? Down. While he was laying down. I could feel what the father is going through. He was not a suspect in any crime that allegedly took place. He was just walking down the street, and Officer Wilson accosted him for just walking down the street as he told him and his partner to get the F off the street, which they said they was gonna do in a minute or so. So it wasn't no provocation to even approach him, but the dude did, and now the police came up with an official version 5 days later that a brute made a strong armed robbery of cigars in a convenience store. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Every time a young black get killed, or a young black man get killed in America, they come up with a criminalization of the victim. They got a hellified PR press unit to criminalize the victim. But the victim was a victim of murder. Mass murder on a scale that we see all over the country. Because 3 other young brothers done got killed almost in the same fashion, being unarmed, in a surrendered position, hands up, or either I ain't got nothing, yes officer, and they was murdered. Tell your young black men and young black women, whether Hispanic or not, don't surrender. Fight against those who fight against you. Have foreknowledge, to be forearmed, so that you can detect in advance the murderous intent of a racist cop, a vigilante. It's time to get knowledge of yourself. Come away from that dummy indoctrination of the slave master, whatever form it came in, and try to accept your own in some shape, form, or fashion. You can't continue to believe in the teaching of the devil, because all he's gonna do is rob you, beat and kill you, keep you out of doors, have you suffering misery, whether it's directly or indirectly. When you gonna learn black people in America, we can't let our babies get killed and then don't do nothing. We gonna protest. Surrender. That's a surrender position. That's the worst protest I ever seen in my life. You surrendering to execution. Don't surrender to execution. Malcolm X say we fight against those who fight against us. And you know where he got those teachings from. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We fight against those who fight against us. Almighty God Allah taught us how to fight against those who fight against us by teaching us and civilizing us with the knowledge of what? Self. So empower the youth with the knowledge of self. And of course, send them on to colleges to get the skilled trade and profession to build for themselves. But they won't be around if they surrender to an executioner. That's what's, on my mind. And I had to come to you with that from a law school in Mecca. Peace.